Hello and welcome to the Storyteller channel. In today's story time, I will be reading you a book called Who's Bad and Who's Good? Little Red Riding Hood. It's a story about stranger danger. Who's Bad and Who's Good? Little Red Riding Hood. Written by Steve Smallman and illustrated by Neil Price. Once upon a time, there was a girl called Little Red Riding Hood. It wasn't her real name, it was just what everyone called her because she was little and always wore a red cloak with a hood. One day, her mum asked her to take some cupcakes and soup to her grandma, who lived in the woods. "Stick to the path and don't talk to strangers," said her mum. "And if you do meet a stranger, yell, run, and tell." "Who should I tell?" asked Little Red Riding Hood. "Someone you know, or a policeman, or a person in a shop," replied her mum. On the way to Grandma's house, Little Red Riding Hood heard someone coughing behind a tree. It was a wolf. "Hello, what are you doing out here all by yourself?" he croaked. "A stranger," gasped Little Red Riding Hood. "I'm going to my grandma's house, so leave me alone," she yelled. She ran and ran until she met a rabbit. "Oh, hello. What's wrong?" asked Rabbit. A rabbit. "Oh, hello. What's wrong?" asked the rabbit. "I'm on my way to Grandma's house with some cakes and soup and I saw a big bad wolf, but I yelled and ran away," gabbled Little Red Riding Hood. "Oh dear, how awful," said Rabbit. "Why don't you pick some flowers for your dear grandma? Then I'll come with you to keep you safe." "Oh, thank you," said Little Red Riding Hood. "That would be lovely." While Little Red Riding Hood picked flowers, she told Rabbit all about her grandma. "She's very old and she still lives all by herself. Mum says it's not safe for her to be all alone, especially when she's got so much jewelry. I can't wait to meet her," said Rabbit. Meanwhile, the wolf arrived, huffing and puffing at Grandma's cottage. Knock, knock. He knocked on the door, then went inside. When Little Red Riding Hood arrived at the cottage, she found someone snuggled up in Grandma's bed wearing a nightie and cap. "Oh, Grandma, what big eyes you have," said Little Red Riding Hood. "Well, they must work better than yours," replied the wolf. "I'm not your grandma." "Eek! It's the wolf!" shrieked Little Red Riding Hood. "He's eaten your grandma!" yelled Rabbit. "Oh no, Grandma!" wailed Little Red Riding Hood. "Yes, dear," replied Grandma, walking into the room carrying a tea tray. "What on earth is the matter?" "Oh, I thought this big bad wolf had eaten you," cried Little Red Riding Hood. "I didn't," croaked the wolf. "He was about to," cried Rabbit, moving towards the door. But just then, crash! A policeman burst in. "Thank goodness you're here," cried Little Red Riding Hood. "Arrest him!" "I will," said the policeman, and he grabbed the rabbit by the ears. "Will someone please tell me what is going on here?" shouted Little Red Riding Hood. So Grandma told her, "Mr. Wolf is a friend of mine. He came to warn me that you were all alone in the woods and that you were talking to strangers, so we called the police. Mr. Wolf looked poorly when he got here, so I made him put on something warm and get into bed. Then I made some tea. So that's why you're wearing Grandma's nightie and cap, said Little Red Riding Hood. Yes, replied Mr. Wolf. I might look silly, but I'm lovely and warm. Even though you yelled and ran away, you told me where you were going, and you spoke to Rabbit. But you didn't know him either, said Mr. Wolf. But he's really nice, argued Little Red Riding Hood. No, he isn't, said the policeman. This is the famous bunny burglar. We've been after him for ages. The policeman tipped Rabbit's bag upside down and out fell Little Red Riding Hood's cupcakes, the soup, the grandma's jewelries, and many things that they'd never seen before. The policeman led Rabbit away. I was so sure Rabbit was good and Wolf was bad, sighed Little Red Riding Hood. You can't always tell who's bad and who's good. Mr. Wolf is lovely, and now you know him, he's not a stranger, said Grandma. Little Red Riding Hood looked over at Mr. Wolf, who was sitting in bed, drinking tea and still wearing Grandma's nightie and cap. Well, he might not be a stranger, giggled Little Red Riding Hood, but he definitely looks strange. The end. I hope you've enjoyed the story. For more exciting stories, please remember to like and subscribe at the Storyteller channel. Bye for now. Hello and welcome to the Storyteller channel. In today's story time, I have a story for you by Trace Murray called When I'm Feeling Kind. This is a great book to help us realize our own feelings and how we are feeling when we are feeling kind. When I'm Feeling Kind, written and illustrated by Trace Murray. When I'm feeling kind, I feel soft and gentle and caring, and my heart feels really warm. When I'm feeling kind, I like to do things that help other people. Feeling kind helps me understand how other people may be feeling. There are many things that I like to do when I feel kind, like help my mum clean the house, or listen to a friend talk about a problem they have, or give a friend a big hug when they feel sad. Kindness is something I can do. I can also give to myself. Being kind to myself means liking who I am and being proud of the things I'm good at, instead of worrying about the things I'm not so good at. Being kind to myself means looking after my body. I look after it by eating healthy food, exercising every day, and getting lots of sleep. When I'm feeling kind, I find it easy to be polite and have good manners. When I ask for something, I always say, please. And when someone gives me something, I always say, thank you. Kindness is something that makes everyone feel really good, especially me.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the story. For more exciting stories, please remember to like and subscribe at the Storyteller channel. Hello and welcome to the Storyteller channel. Today we will be reading a book about things I love about Bedtime by Trace Morney. Hope you enjoy the story. I love bedtime, and these are things I love most. I have a bath, then I brush my teeth and put on my favorite pajamas. Mum pretends she is a huggle monster and chases me into bed and gives me a great big hug. I snuggle into bed with my teddy bunny and Dad reads me a story. Then we walk about the best moments of my day, like building a tree hut together, or drawing a really good picture for Mum, or playing fun games with my friends. Remembering my best moments makes me feel good about being me. Then Dad always says, of all the millions and squillions of little bunnies around the world, how did I get so lucky to have the best one? Good night, my little snuggle bunny. I love you. This makes me feel really special. I close my sleepy eyes and think of all the things I would like to dream about, like riding on a giant bumblebee right up to the moon and back. Or sailing in a pirate ship on a sea of raspberry jam and goldfish. Or perhaps just in my own bed, feeling warm, safe, and loved. I love bed. The end. Thank you so much for watching. For more exciting books and videos, please remember to like and subscribe at the Storyteller channel. Bye for now. Hello and welcome to the Storyteller channel. In today's video, I will be reading you a book called The Karate Kid. It's based on the film written by Robert Mark Kamen and directed by John G. Avildsen. It's illustrated by Kim Smith. On Daniel's first day of school, some mean kids started picking on him. The leader of the group was named Johnny. The mean kids studied karate at dojo named Cobra Kai. A dojo is a place where students learn martial arts. All of the students at Cobra Kai were training for a big karate tournament. The next day, the Cobra Kai students chased Daniel home from school. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a man appeared and he chased the boys away with his karate move. It was Mr. Miyagi, the Japanese maintenance man who worked in Daniel's apartment building. He was better at karate than the Cobra Kai students. "Please teach me karate," Daniel said to Mr. Miyagi. "I want to enter the tournament. If I can beat Johnny, I bet he'll stop picking on me." "I promise to teach karate," said Mr. Miyagi, "if you promise to learn." That day, Mr. Miyagi became Daniel's sensei. Sensei is the Japanese word for teacher. The next day, Daniel went to Mr. Miyagi's house. Daniel was excited to start learning karate. First, Mr. Miyagi gave Daniel a special headband. Next, Mr. Miyagi handed Daniel a bucket and a sponge. He told him to wash all the cars in the driveway and then wax them too. Wax on, right hand. Wax off, left hand. Wax on, wax off. Daniel worked very hard all day. He worked until the sun went down. Finally, all the cars were clean and shiny. But he worked so hard and so long that there was no time left for karate training. The next morning, Mr. Miyagi handed Daniel 2 sanders. Right circle, left circle. Breathe in, breathe out. Daniel worked very hard all day. He worked until the sun went dawn. Finally, the deck was smooth, but he worked so hard and so long that there was no time left for karate training. Daniel woke up excited. Maybe today Mr. Miyagi would finally teach him karate. Instead, Mr. Miyagi gave Daniel a can of paint and a paintbrush. Long strokes, up, then down. Don't forget to bend your knees. Daniel worked very hard all day. He worked until the sun went dawn. Finally, the house was painted, but Daniel was frustrated. He wanted to learn karate, not do chores all day. When Mr. Miyagi came home, Daniel said, "I'm tired of doing chores. Why won't you teach me karate? I haven't learned anything." "You've learned plenty. Show me how to wax the cars." Daniel showed him how, and he blocked Mr. Miyagi's punch. "Show me how you sanded the deck." Daniel showed him how, and he blocked Mr. Miyagi's deck. Kick. "Show me how you painted the house." Daniel showed him how, and he blocked Mr. Miyagi's strike. Daniel couldn't believe it. The whole time he thought he was doing chores, he had actually been learning karate moves and getting closer every day. The tournament was coming up and Daniel was practicing very hard. Mr. Miyagi taught him to balance by staying upright in the ocean waves. Balance is key. Balance good, karate good, everything is good. Mr. Miyagi taught him a special move called the crane kick, which Daniel practiced while balancing on the edge of a boat. He also taught Daniel that karate wasn't about fighting. It was about balance and discipline, both in the body and in the mind. Daniel noticed that Mr. Miyagi was always trying to catch flies with his chopsticks. One day, Daniel asked him why. If you can catch a fly with chopsticks, you can accomplish anything in the world. Daniel decided to try, and he immediately caught the fly. Beginner's luck! Finally, it was the day of the tournament. Daniel wore a special uniform that was a gift from Mr. Miyagi. Daniel was very nervous. Yahoo! Most of the kids were bigger than he was, and they all had black belts. But Daniel won one match after the other. He just imagined he was back at Mr. Miyagi's house doing his chores. The final match was against Johnny, the leader of the Cobra Kai students. Daniel scored 2 points. Then Johnny scored 2 points. One more point would determine the winner. Daniel stood on one leg and closed his eyes, pretending he was he was in the boat of the water. Daniel found his balance. He breathed in and breathed out. Daniel won the last point. He won the tournament. Johnny handed Daniel the trophy. "You earned it," Johnny said. "I couldn't have done it without my sensei," Daniel said. The end. I hope you've enjoyed the story. For more exciting stories, please remember to like and subscribe at the Storyteller channel. Bye for now.
Hello and welcome to the Storyteller channel. In today's story time, we'll be reading a book called The Little Raindrop by Joanna Gray. One dark and stormy day, a little raindrop fell out of a cloud and flew faster and faster through the sky. A gust of wind blew little raindrops sideways, and in a dazzling flash of red, orange, and yellow, he found himself inside a rainbow. Enjoying the beautiful colors, little raindrop fell through green, blue, indigo, and violet before another gust of wind blew him out of the rainbow. Splash! Little raindrop landed in a shallow puddle on top of a large rock. Splish, splash, splosh! Lots of other raindrops fell all around him until the puddle was overflowing. Little raindrop ran down the side of the rock and joined a stream. In the stream, little raindrop drifted through woods and bounced over pebbles. He played with small, shimmering fish and watched them dart around as deer and rabbits came to drink at the water's edge. Sometimes, laughing children would raise sticks in the water, and little raindrop would chase them under bridges, dodging the swirling grass and fluttering leaves. After a while, the stream joined a river, and little raindrop floated along in the strong current. At times, the river was calm and peaceful, and little raindrop watched diving kingfishers and larger fish as they swam slowly by. At other times, the river was noisy and rough. Little raindrop raced along rapids and dived down waterfalls, carefully avoiding the jagged rocks at the bottom of the falls. Eventually, the river reached the sea, and little raindrop was pulled far away from the shore. He met friendly dolphins who played and danced in the sunlight and listened as they whistled and clicked their greetings to each other. One day, the tide pulled little raindrop back to the beach. He surfed the waves and crashed onto the shore until finally he came to rest on the soft sand. Look at him on the soft sand, Plumpy. The sun shone down on the sand, and little raindrop got hotter and hotter until the warmth of the sun drew him up into the air. It was cooler in the sky, and little raindrop joined a cloud that was already full of other raindrops. Little raindrop was ready to fall to earth and begin his journey once more.
And that is how little raindrops come trickling down the earth when it rains. I hope you've enjoyed the story. For more exciting stories, please remember to like and subscribe at the Storyteller channel. Bye for now.
Hello and welcome to the Storyteller channel. In today's story time, I will be reading you a book called Peppa's Fairy Tale. I hope you enjoy the story. Peppa's Fairy Tale. Once upon a time, Peppa and George were looking at storybooks together. This one has 3 bears, porridge and a hungry wolf looking for an old lady to eat, said Peppa. George looked worried. Don't worry, George, added Peppa. There's always a happy ending, Peppa sighed. I wish we lived in a fairy story. Peppa, George, called Mummy Pig. It's time to go to Granny and Grandpa Pig's house for lunch. We're going to walk there through the woods. But we want to go on a magical fairy tale adventure, said Peppa. Maybe if we look hard enough, we might see some magical things on the way, said Daddy Pig. This doesn't feel like a magical fairy tale place, said Peppa, as they walked through the woods. It feels a bit magical to me, said Daddy Pig, looking at the trees around them. Yes, agreed Mummy Pig. This is like the path in Little Red Riding Hood. I wouldn't be surprised if we bumped into the big bad wolf, said Daddy Pig. Ho ho ho! Just then, Daddy Pig bumped straight into Mr. Wolf. Oh, hello, Mr. Wolf, said Daddy Pig. How are you? Very well, replied Mr. Wolf. I'm just a bit hungry. I'm going to my granny's house for lunch, said Peppa. Are you really? asked Mr. Wolf. Well, I'll catch you later then. Bye. That was just like Little Red Riding Hood, gasped Peppa, meeting Mr. Wolf in the woods. I'm not sure which way to go now, mumbled Daddy Pig. There's a little cottage over there, said Peppa. Maybe someone inside will know the way. Peppa and her family walked through a rose garden and up to the cottage. Hello, called Daddy Pig, knocking on the door. As Daddy Pig knocked, the door opened all by itself. Is there anybody home? asked Mummy Pig, wondering who would live in a cottage in the middle of the woods. Inside the cottage, there were 3 chairs and 3 bowls of porridge. That porridge looks delicious, said Daddy Pig. I wonder whose it is. Hello, Peppa, cried Belinda Bear, spotting her friend. Hello, Belinda, said Peppa. Oh, hello, Mr. and Mrs. Bear, said Mummy Pig. Sorry to trouble you, but the door just opened, so we came inside. That's quite all right, said Mrs. Bear. It's lovely to see you all. Are you going to stay for lunch, Peppa? asked Belinda. We're having porridge and it's not too hot, not too cold, but just right, finished Peppa. Hee hee hee, Belinda and Peppa laughed together. We're actually on our way to have lunch at Granny and Grandpa Pig's house, said Mummy Pig, but we got a bit lost. Can you point us in the right direction, please? Mrs. Bear pointed the way, and Peppa and her family set off again. Wow, said Peppa. That was just like Goldilocks and the 3 bears. With a little cottage and 3 chairs, said Daddy Pig, and 3 bowls of delicious porridge, I might have just a little spoonful. Daddy! Hee hee hee, Peppa giggled. It's like we are in a fairy tale. Peppa, George, Mummy and Daddy Pig followed the path through the woods to the bottom of a hill. I think I need more porridge to get up this hill, puffed Daddy Pig. Don't worry, Daddy, said Peppa. We're going to have lunch soon. When they arrived at the house on top of the hill, Peppa knocked on the door. Granny, we're here! Everyone was very surprised when the door was opened by Mr. Wolf. Oh, they all gasped. Oh, hello, said Mr. Wolf. Mr. Wolf, said Peppa, why are you here? I'm just round for something to eat, replied Mr. Wolf. Granny Pig has made a lovely lunch. Granny Pig poked her head around the door. Hello, everyone, she said. Oh, hello, Granny, said Peppa, a little relieved. We're very hungry after all our walking. Don't worry, Peppa, said Granny Pig. Lunch is ready now. When Peppa stepped inside, she saw Wendy Wolf was there too. Hello, Peppa, said Wendy. What have you been doing today? Hello, Wendy, replied Peppa. We've been having a magical adventure in the fairy tale woods. Oh, gasped Wendy. Everyone sat down to eat Granny Pig's delicious lunch. Why was it a magical adventure? Asked Wendy. It was just like Goldilocks and the Three Bears and Little Red Riding Hood, said Peppa. Wow, gasped Wendy. I love fairy stories. Everyone loved fairy stories. Yum yum, said Mr. Wolf, tucking in. Everyone loved Granny Pig's lunch. Especially hungry Mr. Wolf. That's the end of the story. Thank you so much for watching. For more exciting stories, please remember to like and subscribe at the Storyteller channel. Bye for now. Possum Magic by Mem Fox and Julie Vivas. Possum Magic. Once upon a time, but not very long ago, deep in the Australian bush lived two possums. Their names were Hush and Grandma Poss. Grandma Poss made bush magic. She made wombats blue and kookaburras pink. She made dingoes smile and emus shrink. But the best magic of all was the magic that made Hush invisible. What adventures Hush had! Because she couldn't be seen, she could be squashed by koalas. Because she couldn't be seen, she could slide down kangaroos. Because she couldn't be seen, she was safe from snakes, which is why Grandma Poss had made her invisible in the first place. But one day, quite unexpectedly, Hush said, Grandma, I want to know what I look like. Please, could you make me visible again? Of course I can, said Grandma Poss, and she began to look through her magic books. She looked into this book, and she looked into that. There was magic for thin, and magic for fat, and magic for tall, and magic for small. But the magic she was looking for wasn't there at all. Grandma Poss looked miserable. Don't worry, Grandma, said Hush. I don't mind. But in her heart of hearts, she did. All night long, Grandma Poss thought and thought. The next morning, just before breakfast, she shouted, "It's something to do with food. People food, not possum food. But I can't remember what. We'll just have to try and find it." So later that day, they left the bush where they'd always been to find what it was that would make Hush be seen. They ate Anzac biscuits in Adelaide, Mornay and Minties in Melbourne, steak and salad in Sydney, and pumpkin scones in Brisbane. Hush remained invisible. "Don't lose heart," said Grandma Poss. "Let's see what we can find in Darwin." It was there, in the far north of Australia, that they found a Vegemite sandwich. Grandma Poss crossed her claws and crossed her feet. Hush breathed deeply and began to eat. "A tail! A tail!" shouted both possums at once, for there it was, a brand new visible tail. Later, on a beach in Perth, they ate a piece of pavlova. Hush's legs appeared. So did her body. "You look wonderful, you precious possum," said Grandma Poss. Next stop, Tasmania, and over the sea they went. In Hobart, late one night, in the kitchen of the casino, they saw a lamington on a plate. Hush closed her eyes and nibbled. Grandma Poss held her breath and waited. "It's worked! It's worked!" she cried, and she was right. Hush could be seen from head to tail. Grandma Poss hugged Hush and they both danced. "Here we go round the lamington plate till early in the morning." From that time onwards, Hush was visible, but once a year on her birthday, she and Grandma Poss ate a Vegemite sandwich, a piece of pavlova, and half a lamington, just to make sure that Hush stayed visible forever. And she did. Hello, and welcome to the Storyteller channel. In today's story time, I will be reading you a book called Mr. Silly by Roger Hargreaves. Mr. Silly by Roger Hargreaves. Mr. Silly lives in Nonsense Land, which is a very funny place to live. You see, in Nonsense Land, everything is as silly as can be. In Nonsense Land, the trees are pink and the grass is blue. Isn't that silly? In Nonsense Land, dogs wear hats. And do you know how birds fly in Nonsense Land? No, they don't fly forwards, they fly backwards. It really is a silly place indeed, which of course is why Mr. Silly lives there. Mr. Silly, in fact, lives in quite the silliest looking house you have ever seen in your whole life. Have you ever seen a sillier looking house than that? Now, this particular story is all about the Nonsense Cup. You see, in Nonsense Land, each year they hold a competition, and the cup is awarded to whoever has the silliest idea of the year. Mr. Silly had never won the cup, but each night, lying in his bed, he dreamed about winning it. In order to win the Nonsense Cup, Mr. Silly realized that he would have to think up something remarkably silly. He pondered over the problem one morning at breakfast. Incidentally, you may be interested to know what Mr. Silly was having for breakfast. He was having a cup of coffee, which he put a spoonful of marmalade into. After that, he had a cornflake sandwich, and to finish, he had a boiled egg. But being Mr. Silly, he ate the shell as well. Isn't that a silly breakfast? Anyway, this particular breakfast time, Mr. Silly was thinking how to win that cup. He remembered 2 years ago the cup was won by Mr. Ridiculous. he won by wallpapering his house, which sounds very ordinary, but in fact, Mr. Ridiculous had wallpapered the outside of his house. And Mr. Silly remembered last year when Mr. Foolish won the cup. Mr. Foolish, who was a friend of Mr. Silly's, had won the cup by inventing a car. It was quite a normal car, apart from one thing. It had square wheels. Isn't that silly? Mr. Silly thought and thought and thought, but it was no good. He even had another cup of coffee with marmalade, but that didn't help either. So he decided to take a walk. Off he went, leaving his front door open so that he wouldn't have burglars when he was out. On his walk, Mr. Silly met a chicken wearing Wellington boots and carrying an umbrella. Wouldn't it be silly if you didn't wear Wellington boots and carry an umbrella? He said to the chicken. Meow, said the chicken, because animals in nonsense land don't make the same noises as they do in your country. On his walk, Mr. Silly met a worm wearing a top hat, monocle and an old school tie. Wouldn't it be silly if you didn't wear a top hat, a monocle and an old school tie? He said to the worm. Quack quack, said the worm. Next, Mr. Silly met a pig wearing trousers and a bowler hat. Wouldn't it be silly if you didn't wear trousers and a bowler hat? He asked the pig. Moo, said the pig. Isn't that silly? It was in the middle of Mr. Silly's walk that he had his idea. It was a beautifully silly idea, quite the silliest idea he'd ever had. He hurried into town and bought himself a pot of paint and a paintbrush. The day of the great awarding of the Nonsense Cup arrived. A huge crowd assembled in the city square to see who was going to win the cup. The king of Nonsense Land mounted the specially built platform. Ladies and gentlemen, he said to the crowd in the city square. It is my pleasure today to award the Nonsense Cup to whoever has had the silliest idea of the year. One of the silliest idea of the year, continued the king, is by Mr. Muddle the farmer. He has managed to grow, of all things, a square apple. The crowd clapped as the square apple was held up by Mr. Muddle for everybody to see. He felt sure he was going to win. However, said the king, and Mr. Muddle's face fell, we have had an even sillier idea entered by Mrs. Nincompoop. It was a teapot, quite the silliest teapot there'd ever been. The crowd broke into thunderous applause. I therefore have great pleasure, announced the king, in presenting the Nonsense Cup to... Just then, he looked up and stopped in astonishment. Now in the middle of the city square, there is a tree. It's always been there, and it was at this tree that the king was looking in astonishment. What, he cried, has happened to that tree? Everybody turned to look. The tree had green leaves, bright green leaves, not pink leaves like all the tree in Nonsense Land, but green. There was an amazed silence. It was me, pipped up Mr. Silly. I painted all the leaves green last night when you were all asleep. A green tree! Exclaimed the king. Who ever heard of a green tree? A green tree! Shouted the crowd. How silly! And they started to applaud. Mr. Silly smiled modestly. The king held up his hands. I think said, that this is the silliest idea I have ever heard of, and therefore I award the nonsense cup to Mr. Silly. The crowd cheered and cheered. Mr. Silly went pink with pride. And a bird perched up in the branches of the silly green tree looked down. Woof, it said, and flew off backwards. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the story. For more exciting stories, please remember to like and subscribe at the Storyteller channel. Bye for now. Hello and welcome to the Storyteller channel. In today's story time, I will be reading you a story by Aaron Lovely called I Need a Hug. I Need a Hug by Aaron Blabby. I need a hug. Will you cuddle me, Lou? What? With those spikes? Get away from me, shoo! I need a hug. Will you cuddle me, Ken? Help! It's that prickly thing! At it again! I need a hug. Will you cuddle me, Mo? Cuddle you? No, I won't. No, 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 no. No one will hug me. That's not very kind. But, hey, wait a minute. You've all changed your mind. Geez, all I did was ask for a kiss. Well, isn't this lovely? Yes. How about this? I hope you've enjoyed the story. For more exciting stories, please remember to like and subscribe at the Storyteller channel. Bye for now. It's My Turn by David Bedford and Elaine Field. It's My Turn by David Bedford, illustrated by Elaine Field. Oscar and Tilly found a playground. Shall we play on the slide? Asked Oscar. I'll go first, said Tilly. Whee! I'll go now, said Oscar. Not yet, said Tilly. It's not your turn. Wow, that looks fun, said Oscar. Is it my turn now? Not yet, said Tilly. Tilly went round and round on the roundabout. Is it my turn yet? Asked Oscar. No, said Tilly. I haven't finished. Tilly went round and round and round and round. I feel dizzy, said Tilly. Hee hee, cried Oscar. It's my turn now. You're too wobbly. This is fun. Woo! I feel better now, said Tilly. Can I slide after you? No, said Oscar. It's not your turn. Can I go on the swing after you? Asked Tilly. No, said Oscar. It's still my turn. Get off, Tilly, shouted Oscar. It's my turn on the seesaw. The seesaw doesn't work, said Tilly. But when Oscar jumped on the other end, whee! Tilly went up in the air. Then Tilly came down and Oscar went up. Woo! And then wee! Woo! Oscar and Tilly played together all afternoon.
Hello and welcome back to the Storyteller channel. In today's story time, we'll be singing and reading a book called Hokey Pokey by Ed Allen, and this is an Aussie edition. Got all the Australian animals in it. Hokey Pokey by Ed Allen and illustrated by Sarah Hardy. Okie dokie, let's do the wombat hokey pokey. Are you ready? Put your right paw in, put your right paw out, put your right paw in and shake it all about. Do the hokey pokey and turn around. That's what it's all about. Okie dokie, now let's do the kookaburra hokey pokey. You put your left wing in, you put your left wing out, you put your left wing in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and turn around. That's what it's all about. Okie dokie, now let's do the platypus hokey pokey. Put your right flipper in, put your right flipper out, put your right flipper in and shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and turn around, and that's what it's all about. Okie dokie, now let's do the koala hokey pokey. You put your left claw in, you put your left claw out, you put your left claw in and shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn around. That's what it's all about. Okie dokie, now let's do the lizard hokey pokey. You put your tongue in, you put your tongue out, you put your tongue in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn around. That's what it's all about. Okie dokie, now let's do the echidna hokey pokey. Put your pointy nose in, put your pointy nose out, put your pointy nose in and shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and turn around. That's what it's all about. Okie dokie, now let's do the bilky hokey pokey. Put your floppy ears in, put your floppy ears out, put your floppy ears in and shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn around, and that's what it's all about. Okie dokie, now let's do the Emu hokey pokey. You put your long neck in, you put your long neck out, you put your long neck in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn around. That's what it's all about. Okie dokie, now let's do the crocodile hokey pokey. What? Crocodile, hokey pokey. How do you do that? You put your swishy tail in, you put your swishy tail out, put your swishy tail in, and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn around. That's what it's all about. Okie dokie. Now let's do the kangaroo hokey pokey. So, jump all the way in, so jump all the way out, so jump all the way in and shake it all about. You do the pokey pokey and you turn around. That's what it's all about. Hooray! Hope you enjoy the singing. For more exciting stories and songs and videos, remember to tune in at the Storyteller channel. Bye for now.
Hello and welcome to the Storyteller channel. In today's story time, I will be reading a book called Each Peach Pear Plum by Janet and Ellen Alberg. I hope you enjoy the story. Each Peach Pear Plum. In this book, with your little eye, take a look and play I Spy. Looks like we're going to play I Spy here. Each Peach Pear Plum by Janet and Ellen Alberg. Each peach pear plum, I spy Tom Thumb. Tom Thumb in the cupboard, I spy Mother Hubbard. Tom Thumb. Mother Hubbard down the cellar, I spy Cinderella. Cinderella on the stairs, I spy the three bears. Three bears out hunting, I spy Baby Bunting. Baby Bunting fast asleep, I spy Bo Peep. Bo Peep up the hill, I spy Jack and Jill. Jack and Jill in the ditch, I spy the Wicked Witch. Wicked Witch over the wood, I spy Robin Hood. Robin Hood in his den, I spy the bear again. Three bears still hunting, they spy Baby Bunting. Baby Bunting safe and dry, I spy Plum Pie. Plum Pie in the sun, I spy everyone. I hope you've enjoyed this story. For more exciting stories, please remember to like and subscribe at the Storyteller channel. Bye for now. Hello and welcome to the Storyteller channel. Today we'll be reading a book from the Doctor series edition illustrated by George Booth called The Wacky Wednesday. It all began with a shoe on a wall. A shoe on a wall? Shouldn't be there at all. Then I looked up and I said, "Oh man," and that's how Wacky Wednesday began. I looked out the window and I said, "Gee, more things were wacky," and I saw 3. I went down the hall and I said, "Hey, 3 more things were wacky today." In the bathroom, more. In the bathroom, 4. I began to dress, then I said, wow, 4 more things were wacky now. I looked in the kitchen, I said, by cranky, 5 more things were very wacky. I was late for school, I started along, and I saw that 6 more things were wrong. And then 7 more. What do you think is wacky here? There's a green sun. Should that be green? And there's actually a man driving on his legs instead of on the wheels. That's another wacky thing. And there's 7 more. And the Sutherland sisters, they looked wacky too. They said, nothing is wacky around here but you. But look, I yelled, 8 things are wrong here at school. Nothing is wrong, they said. Don't be a fool. I ran into school. I yelled to Miss Baz, look, 9 things are wacky right here in your class. Nothing is wacky here in my class. Get out. You're the wacky one. Out, said Miss Baz. I went out the school door. Things were worse than before. I couldn't believe it. 10 wacky things more. Then I counted 11. Then 12 worse things. I got scared and I ran. I ran and knocked over Patrolman McGann. So as you can see, there's more wacky things here. There's a lady carrying so many babies. There's a cow with his legs that are the other way around, and he has 2 milking teats, and he has no head. And we've got a pig that's upside down pig. And as you can see, that there's a man, he's flying, and there's a car that's flying, and there's a pram that's upside down, and there's a baby pushing an old lady, and also a tiger pushing a pram, and a lady pushing a pram, and she's walking on wheels, and even a door in the middle of the way. That all looks very wacky. I'm sorry, Patrolman, that's all I could say. Don't be sorry, he smiled. It's that kind of a day, but be glad, Wacky Wednesday will soon go away. Only 20 things more will be wacky, he said. Just find them and then you can go back to bed. Wacky Wednesday was gone when I counted them all, and I even got rid of that shoe on the wall. Thank you so much for tuning in. For more exciting videos and books, please remember to like and subscribe at the Storyteller channel. Bye for now.